Guys, Corey Hind, Level Up. Hope you're enjoying the content so far in the course, and I hope you're taking actions. That's the most important thing. Now, just a quick housekeeping reminder, this video is being recorded on Loom, so it'll be loud, so you can adjust the volume, and you can pause it, you can speed it up. You probably don't need to speed it up, you probably want to slow it down. But if you want to get through it faster, you can speed it up and come back to it later. Okay, so we've talked a lot about some fundamental marketing things, and we've talked about all sorts of things really. This one, in all honesty, we probably should have done it earlier on. So email marketing to me is an absolute must for every single business. I get a lot of resistance to that from small business owners who don't think they need to, or maybe don't want to. I think it's because they don't understand how powerful it can be for their business. All right. So we're going to talk about email marketing, and really, this whole module can be summarized as such: just start. So you need to integrate email marketing in some way. Now, I'll tell you why. So the first section, 9.1, is all about the why. Okay, I think that once people understand how important it can be, they'll never look back. Okay, people worry way too much about what they should use for their email marketing in terms of a product. They worry about what to write about and what to do, and bamboozling people with content. That's all secondary. The main thing is email has been proven to have a huge return on investment, and it works for pretty much every business when it's done well. Okay, so the main reason that we use email is that we want to build relationships and stay top of mind. Now, keep in mind the usual online thing. Someone will find your website, they will go to your website, they'll look around, they might read an article, do a couple of things, and then they'll probably leave, and then they're gone. Okay, so they're probably in research mode. It's a bit like Facebook. People go to Facebook for entertainment, not necessarily to buy a thing or solve a problem. They'll come to your website probably in research mode. They're doing their research, comparing you to the next guy, to the next guy, to the next guy, and then that research mode is over and they're not ready to purchase. They might not ever come back to your website. Okay, so if you can somehow get them onto an email list where you can then further build your relationship, that is a very, very powerful thing. In our business, we've had people go to our website or our Facebook page, get on our email list, and digest our weekly emails. They're a bit less frequently before. They're every week at the moment because we know that works for us. So they've stayed in our loop. We've built a relationship with them, and in some cases, even after 18 months, people have come back to us and said, I'm now ready to buy that thing. So we usually provide lots of value and then an offer once in a while. We've had people come back to us after well over a year to say, oh, hey, thanks, I want to talk about that thing. And very frequently, they've actually replied to one of our emails to ask that purchasing question. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight this: build relationships. Email helps to build relationships. People are shopping around, you get them on an email list somehow. Maybe you've given them a free voucher or a lead magnet or something, some sort of checklist or some valuable help. They're on your email list and you provided value again and again and again. You've taught them stuff. And then when they're ready to buy, which many times is right down the line, you are top of mind. Okay, so email really works effectively. We know from experience that when somebody starts to an email, there's resistance and there's some painful bits like setting it up and getting old email contacts to get on the list, building out their first newsletter or whatever it is. But once people start doing it and get into a bit of a rhythm, it always pays off. Now, the next point about why we use email is you own your list. This is a really important point of differentiation from social media. So Facebook, your page, is not owned by you, it's owned by Facebook. Facebook also owns Instagram. So LinkedIn is owned by LinkedIn. So all those social media accounts where we sometimes rely for new leads, etc., you don't own those assets. Okay, you're kind of renting them, you're leasing them. With an email list, you own it, you control it, you can communicate how you want to communicate. There's a lot more freedom. So we want to own that because it's just a much more effective way to market when you own the asset. So generally speaking, I talk to people about their social stuff, their email, and their website. That's the broad spectrum. So we really want to use email in some way. Okay. The next reason that we would use email marketing is because we want to get into the inboxes of people knowing that they check them several times a day. So they might check it on their desktop a couple of times a day, but they'll probably have their phone in their pocket and they'll check their email on their phone as well. Now, it's a very personal connection. You're able to get into someone's phone from an email list. It's a very powerful thing. Something I haven't put on here is when the next social media platform pops up, how do you think you'll create an account for that? Using your email address. So we're always going to have email addresses and email as part of our world. We can communicate in a variety of ways, but we're always going to have email. Okay, and email, and I won't go through the numbers, but people who break down marketing spend, time and money, and then show return on investment have proven that email is a very, very high return on investment. So it's very much worthwhile. So hopefully I've convinced you to do email marketing. We know that it's such an effective tool for online businesses, in-person businesses, location businesses, service businesses, product businesses. Imagine that you've sold a thing to somebody and then you've provided them a newsletter next week with some instructions on how to use it and maybe an upsell to a further product. You might put a voucher in there they can share with a friend. Email lists can be really, really powerful. I've had clients who sell physical things and don't have email lists, and I'm like, right, stop everything, create an email list. It's a very important step. Now, email platforms, this is a step that bamboozles people and they spend way too much time thinking about it because all of these email platforms will change over time. Mailchimp was the go-to for quite some time. A lot of these other ones are far newer than that. It doesn't really matter. Okay, just pick one. MailerLite is getting fantastic reviews lately. People really enjoy using it. I think it's free, if not super low cost. Mailchimp I've used for years. It's really easy to use. People recognize it. People know it. People are kind of used to it, and that's good. Pretty easy to use. So many online resources that help you to use it, and their own Mailchimp stuff as well. SendFox is a new product that I've been using myself this year. I'm really enjoying it. One small cost at the start, really small, like about $40, and then free forever. Active Campaign, again, really highly recommended. Constant Contact, Aweber is a bit older, but again, very powerful, very widely used and loved. Get Response. It really doesn't matter. Just pick one and learn how to use it and get in. With our inner circle, I'll always help people with this sort of stuff. If you've got problems on how to set something up or how to automate or how to read the data, whatever it might be, we'll always help out. Okay, so just pick one and get cracking. Now, the next point is building a newsletter. Now, you don't have to build a newsletter. We recommend it because we know that for people who are resistant to trying email marketing, if we start with that newsletter idea and you do it once a month, it's not that intimidating. So I had a fitness newsletter 20 years ago before all of these products existed, Mailchimp, etc. I just used good old Hotmail, and I reached out to tons of people and built a really good fitness business just off the back of this newsletter, which was mostly content. So I'd have a recipe of the week, I'd have a workout of the week, I'd have some local news, and then I'd have a voucher for our fitness group, and it worked brilliantly. So building a newsletter is a great way to start. Now, most people subscribe to newsletters for two major reasons. One is to stay abreast of new information and updates, etc. And the second one is deals. So people do love deals. So when you're building out your first email campaign or your first newsletter, the first step is you're going to build out a template. So you're going to look at, I recommend you find some good emails that exist, like The Hustle or Click or even mine. I quite like mine, a bit biased. Find some emails that you like. Look at how they're written and prepared. They've always got lots of white space and some images and big headings and short sentences. Find one that you like and model it from that, and that becomes your template. Then decide what information are you going to include in there. What are you going to talk about? So something I like to say here is teach, don't sell. You know heaps of stuff about your area of expertise. So just teach people things. Maybe have some updates, some industry insiders, some reviews of new things, whatever it might be. Just teach people stuff rather than selling at people. People don't like to be sold at, especially in Australia and New Zealand, but we do like to know stuff and learn stuff. So if you can help them to know stuff and learn stuff, super. The next thing that keeps people on a list is deals. So we've got, as I record this in August 2020, my newsletter tomorrow has about 3 really good deals going out, and I've prepped my Facebook group for that. There's a few deals that won't last. They'll only be 24 hours. People are already excited about those because they're quite timely with some things going on right now. So people do like deals. I wouldn't recommend you make it the entire crux of your newsletter, but it's absolutely worthwhile. So for us as a marketing business, we like to teach some things, have some updates, have a bit of news. I like to be a little bit edgy and controversial at times, and then usually I'll have a deal at the bottom, a discounted course, something of that nature. So it's in your best interest to do that because it leads into the next point, which is creating shareable content. So when you write stuff, you have to be very mindful that you want to be appealing to. Right at the start of this course, we talked about your perfect customer, your demographics, the people you're trying to appeal to with your business. You want to make sure you're creating content for that person, and then think, will they share this with other people just like that? Because if you can create content that gets shared, if you get somebody to forward your email on to their friends and there's a deal in there, that is a recipe for success. We've seen it work effectively across multitudes of industries. So as you prepare the newsletter or the email, think, what can I teach people? How can I educate, inform, entertain? Entertainment's good. Will that be shared? And can I include a deal of some kind? Because we know that that formula works. I'm quite lucky in that I kind of discovered that formula by chance. It wasn't because I was smart or anything. I was just doing it, and I learned by the doing 20 years ago. Plenty of research afterwards has indicated that I'd happened across the right formula. Okay, teach, educate, inform, and a bit of a deal, and you generally can't go wrong. The next thing is you need to commit to a plan. Okay, so you might say, right, I'm going to do this every month or every fortnight. Whatever you can commit to, make it consistent. You want people to anticipate your work coming into their inbox. That's the ideal situation. You want them to look forward to it. We try to publish our newsletter every Wednesday or Thursday morning. We kind of test between the two because we know that 9 a.m. on those days is our ideal open time after lots of testing. The Wednesday, Thursday thing is still being tested. So we've committed to that, and I'm going to dogmatically commit to that for a very long time because I know it works for my business. Okay. Then I've committed to that plan, which I want you to do. Commit to a plan that's realistic. Okay. Don't be the person who says, I'm going to train for 3 hours a day. Make it 20 minutes. Make it achievable, and make sure you've got the resources and the team to do that, and then review your data. Okay, so every time you send out an email, look at the open rates, look at the click-through rates, how many people clicked onto a link, review that stuff and think it through. Is this good? Can I improve this? Ask us, are these good numbers? As your group grows, as your email list gets bigger, your open rate will drop. That's natural, but you just want to keep reviewing your data. All right, so the main summary point from this little module is do email marketing. Just pick a product and get started. You will never, ever regret it. You will find it hard at the start. It'll get way easier. It's much like a fitness program. Okay, it's amazing how often my two worlds of fitness and marketing collide. Email marketing is exactly the same. Commit to it, get a plan, start doing the work. It'll just get easier as you go. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that's another helpful module, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.